Hey there, welcome to Board Game Barrister, our local game shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is Tuesday. Every single Tuesday we get to play a game, and today Elizabeth and I played That Time You Killed Me. It is a game about two time travelers who keep going back through the various eras of time, trying to kill each other in those eras to prove that they're the one who invented time travel, and we found out who did today. Maybe. We only played through part of it. We're going to talk through everything we liked about the game and what makes it so unique and cool, but before we do that, let's talk about how the game plays for a second. Welcome to That Time You Killed Me. This is a head-to-head game for two players where you're going to be trying to destroy your time-traveling rival through the past, present, and future. If you can ever eliminate your opponent off of two of the three boards, you win immediately, so that's your goal. Now on your turn, you get to activate one of your pawns on one of the three different eras, and you get to take two actions for them. The first of those actions is to move. If you move to an adjacent spot, that counts as one of your two actions. Now moving gets a little bit more interesting when you start to get a little closer to your opponent, because if you move into a space with an opponent in it, you push that opponent into the space behind them. If you can ever line it up so that you push your opponent into one of the solid walls on the edge of the board, they get squished against that wall, and that piece is captured and removed from the game. Now, of course, it's not a game about just moving and squishing on three different boards. It's a time travel game, so the other actions you can take have to do with time travel. The first of those is to hop forward in time. So if you ever see that there isn't any pieces or objects on the same space as you in the future, you can hop forward one era with your pawn, and that counts as one of your actions. Things get a little bit more interesting when you choose to move backward in time, because your current self still remains and you're actually creating a duplicate of yourself. So when you hop back in time, say I went back to the past here, I would then create a duplicate of myself in the space that I left. Each player has a supply of extra cells that they can generate over the course of the game, so it gets kind of crowded if people aren't capturing pieces fast enough. And when it starts to get pretty crowded is when you get into some interesting scenarios and can start to create a paradox, which is very bad for your opponent. If you can ever line it up so that your opponent has two pawns next to each other and you're able to push one into the other one, well, two of yourself can't exist at the same place and the same time. That's a paradox, and both of those pawns are going to be obliterated from history. Now there's one other element we haven't talked about yet, and that's how you're going to choose which of the three eras you act in each turn. It's actually not entirely up to you, it's about past you. Each player has a focus token that's going to slot in next to one of the three eras, and at the end of each of your turns, you have to choose a new era that you didn't act in this turn that you plan to act in next turn. So this means you are always looking ahead to try to see where you can act next and where you can have an effect on your next turn, but then when that next turn comes, you're looking to the past and saying, wow, I'm glad I made this choice, or I'm so sad that I made this choice. That's all there is to the basic game of That Time You Killed Me, but one of the extra really cool parts about this game is that it continues to grow and the story develops as you play. So as you're reading through the rulebook, you're going to be adding new chapters in the form of these module boxes that add new pieces and elements to the game. We also played with the growth chapter, which adds a supply of seeds, shrubs, and trees that are available to both players. This adds a new action where you can plant a seed on your space or on an adjacent space, and when you do that, it immediately cascades out throughout the future timelines. So if I planted a seed here, a shrub would appear in the future because it had grown throughout time. And likewise, if you plant a seed in the past, it's then going to become a shrub in the present, and then all the way up to a huge tree in the future. There's a little bit more to it than that I'll let you get into if you play the game, but there's obviously a ton of extra content to be discovered in these other boxes. Once one player's been eliminated from two of those boards, like we said, that means the other player wins, and we're gonna play again or just move on to the next chapter. All right, so obviously it is a two-player game. You're gonna wanna play with one other person, and it's a super cool time. The cool thing about this is that there is a scale for how you can kind of adjust the difficulty for one of the players if they're just plain winning more, or if they're more used to abstract strategy games like chess and stuff like that. So I liked having that ability to remove some pieces from that player and still make it feel like a good, even match between two players who might otherwise be unmatched just at having more experience at this type of game.
I would say that this game really rewards the player who wants to spend extra time thinking about how they're going to sequence their moves, even though I did at times struggle to figure out how I was going to sequence all of these moving pieces. I always felt like, no, I'm not going to concede right now, because what if I did this? And I really felt like there was a lot of still open questions, just like there is in real time travel. Mm-hmm. Real time travel.
Real time travel. We're filming this in the year 2032. Just you wait, 10 more years. So as I said, it has a very abstract, kind of ruthless strategy feel. It's a very cold strategic game in the actual gameplay. but I liked the simplicity and kind of the quick ruthlessness of it. In our first game, one move I made took 2 of your pieces off the board, and you only have a finite number of pieces total that you're going to get to add to the board as the game goes on. So I like that you're working in these tiny 4x4 spaces, crushing each other against walls, and the end is inevitably approaching. There's never going to be a 2.5-hour chess match. You know this one's going to come to a abrupt and gruesome end for one of the players. It gives you the feeling of, even if this is going terribly for me, or I really wish I'd made some different decisions, you can easily say to yourself, but I'm going to play again after this. I really want to play again and get some of that stuff better next time. There's a bunch of messy stuff in this game. Let's see. I'm going to do this and this, and then shift my focus there.
This is not what I was expecting. All right, so we're in danger.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything with those folks over there because I'm not focused
That's
over
correct.
there.
Yeah.
These guys are goners.
They're probably guys. I have big plans for them, and the plans aren't
Pass.
kind. Okay, I go. Push! Paradox!
The other thing that I really like about this game is that kind of aha moment where instead of just thinking about, all right, I need to move here, I need to move there, that aha moment of, oh, I need to shift over to this other time period and do that over here. So thinking about just basically time jumping and saying, I'm going to use my 3rd dimension or my 4th dimension to pull off this play. And a lot of abstract strategy games don't have that. It's very tit for tat. You make a poor move, it's to my advantage, and it's a very immediate push and pull, whereas in this game, there's really that opportunity for finding that shortest route to success that just suddenly appears out of nowhere.
This could have been just 3 boards and some cheeky oh, you can jump between the boards, and that's cool, right? But they added so much theme to make the time traveling part cool. The fact that hopping back in time creates a duplicate of the version of you that went, or bumping 2 of your opponent's pieces into each other creates a time paradox and deletes them both from history. It's so cool how they themed this and thought about how the time travel was going to work. But they didn't stop there. They added story elements to the box. As you're opening each of the different additional modules that you have to do in order, it tells you not to go further in the rulebook and look at the other modules till you get there. They're going to add little bits and pieces of flavor about how the fight between the 2 characters is going and all this stuff. So it's just so cool that there's a bit of an exploration element on top of the abstract element, and I mean immediately just the cool minis of weird trees that are going to get tipped over on people. They did such a cool job making this feel like a game that you get to discover and explore as you're going through.
Yeah, I really like that they have actually made it feel like an adventure. There are some abstract strategy games that I find after a while my brain is just exhausted. I'm that was nice, my brain has had its exercise, we're done. But this game actually has enough adventure elements that it does keep my imagination peaked, and I would totally play again. I'm not done with this.
Alrighty, well, we killed each other, and that was That Time You Killed Me. Thank you so much for watching. We had a really good time with this one, and we hope you had a fun time watching. As always, you can hang out with us every Tuesday and watch us play new games. Just hit that subscribe button, and you'll be there with us. Hit the like and comment as well, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much.